Hello. Boy, that was the quickest I have ever set up. for, it's okay. That's all right. I pretty much was ready. I had just finished spinning on what I was doing in the living room, and this is next. I normally go on at 3. So I am just kind of still pushing buttons, and I'm going to do that so that I am totally ready. I think what I'll do here is see if this is an acceptable camera angle. I have made my face one tiny so that I can show. Let's see if I can get this. A little more of the long draw going on with the bat. Okay, that sort of feels all right. Music's up. I think I'll just sit here a few minutes and wait. I'm supposed to have JK come and raid me, which is exactly why I got on early. Welcome to day 2 of Tour de Fleece. I watched just a bit of day 1 this morning while I was spinning in the living room, and I really didn't get into any of the exciting part. I haven't made it to where they had the wreck, the stupid spectator incident. But I can't begin to tell you how much fun it is to actually see it again. I really enjoy it. I know these riders' names now. Now I know who I want to root for. Of course, the commentators are the same. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to being able to sit and watch it, but I always run into this every year. I get further and further behind because it takes like 4 hours to watch the whole coverage, which I like to do, and I get further and further behind in the recordings, so that by the time the tour is over, I'm usually on about maybe day 12, because I don't have the time to sit and watch them all. I continue to watch them after it's all over. And unlike some of the sporting events where you going to talk to people about it, I really don't have to worry about anybody telling me who wins and what happens, because nobody talks to me about the Tour de France, right? It's no big deal. But I finished 2020 a couple months ago, that long ago. So anyway, this is day 2, and normally I would stream on this day anyway, but I am going to try and see if I can get on stream every day, if just for a little bit. Some of the streams, there comes JK, yay! Hello everybody! You're probably watching Onad. I'm sorry. Oh, goodness. I love all the kitties. Yay, I love all the kitties. Thank you for the follow. Why not? Appreciate that. Hello. JK, I know you've just streamed, and I know you probably need to run. I want to show you one thing real quick while we're on the stream. That's this. This is what you've been talking about. It's called Fleece with a Face. She always has a sheep on there with a name. And this is what I cannot think of how to call this. It's not a ball, right? I keep wanting to call it a skein, right? Because of that shape. But the fiber comes out right here like this as a center pull. And yeah, it kind of catches, so I don't spin from it that way. I take it out. But that is Wahala or Arizona Tunis, and that's the Clune Forest. This is 4 ounces. This is what you get. I will say she's a bit pricey, but I feel it's really worth it. Especially two things: you can't always find the breed, and she really is picky about what the mill does. She works with this one mill, and she really likes it. So, I guess I could call it a bump. That would be probably what she calls it too. Okay. But anyway, and I also wanted to show you, I found her 4 ounces was it's just like just 4 ounces, maybe 3.9, and for the Shave 'em to Save 'em, I thought, well, I'll go ahead and buy the 8 ounces, which is another thing that upped the cost a little bit for me. So I have 8 ounces of this Clune Forest, and I'm spinning on my Roberta. I want to show you, as you can see, it's not thin. It's not thin. It is, I didn't really check it on this. I won't show it on camera, but it's 22. It's going to be around 11. It's 22 as a single, so it's going to be around 11. So it just wants to spin that way. So how is everybody? Woohoo! Snoring Cat, no ad, good. Hi, Snoring Cat. Now I'm going to back up here and see who's here. We got Rogue Knitter, JK. We've got Tentel. Hi, Tentel. Oh, we'll see you when you're back. Good old Twitch. Luminous Val, Morning Rose Rising. Ah. Yay, Tentel says it's working now. It's like a red heart yarn skein. I kept wanting to say skein. And it was like, I'm not implying this is yarn. I don't want to say skein, but that's exactly what it's like. Yeah. Yeah, bump. Okay. Nikki, I don't know how to say it. I'm going to call you Nick. Yeah. Snoring Cat, Fibers, Arts. I should do some shout outs, but you all kind of all know each other already right now. Okay, Morning Rose, but thanks for stopping by. You guys, you are helping my numbers so much. I really appreciate it. I really do. You've been considering 8 for your last. You'll use it. You really will, especially if you spin it the way you want, and you can maybe combine it with a couple, for a sweater project or whatever. You'll use it. 6 pounds goes fast if it's thicker. 6 pounds? Did you really mean that? Oh, your whole goal? Yeah, my whole goal is around 4 pounds. It was something like that. 56 ounces. 56 ounces was my goal. I knew it was half of yours. Yours is in the 100. Mine's around 56 for this. And this is spinning very fast. I'm doing 2 ounces in easily hour and a half in the morning as a single. Okay, Knot Stitches, go and spin. Get your Tour de Fleece spinning done. Nikki Works, okay. Glad to meet you. Tantel says, yeah, I keep saying wool and yarn instead of fiber, but I also accidentally talk rows instead of rounds, and those are interchangeable to us too. And headphones instead of earphones. So yeah, that's right. English is kind of nasty that way, isn't it? Hey Dan, glad to see you. I usually only see you late at night on Snoring Cat. Welcome. And JK says your goal is the Shave 'em to Save 'em stuff with a few extras, and it came to 102 ounces, almost 6 pounds. And that's 5 ounces a day, but some of them are going very fast. That's right. I was really surprised to see that you were plying today. When I popped on, I was like, oh, she did a lot of spinning yesterday. Let me switch cameras here and show you what I'm doing. I made the center screen real big so that you could possibly see the some of the long draw going on, because this CVM I am doing long draw. This is from my Patrick Green drum carder. All right, it has a fine tooth on it. It's California Variegated Mutant. That's what the CVM stands for. That is the good side. That's the top side. Sometimes there's what we call the not so good side. You can see that where it's actually connected with the teeth. This gets loose when you take the bat off. It doesn't always stay nice and connected like the front. So sometimes I just go ahead and take this off, hold on to it, add it at the end. But that kind of keeps, now the bat is a little more intact and everything. When I carded this fleece, it was grays and light tans and a little darker browns, but it really did go ahead and homogenize into what I call light gray. I have 8 of these bats. I have spun 2. I can spin 2 in about 2 hours, unless I'm typing a lot on the stream, but generally I don't. I have the time to spin, and that's pretty much my goal, is to spin 2 a day, as well as in the morning I'm spinning other stuff. But once I get the other stuff all spun, I'll just focus on this. This is my sweater spin, and it's 46 ounces between the 8 bats of the light color and more than 8 bats. I don't know how many off the top of my head of a darker gray. So I need a sweater that will use those 2 colors. But then if it's not enough yardage, because I'm talking a sweater, I mean I want something good and warm, not a pullover, a cardigan. So I'm not sure I'm going to get it from all of this fiber. Let's see here. I posted to you live to the Tour de Free. Okay, stream alert. Thank you. I hadn't done that yet because I expected to go on at 3 o'clock. Thank you. I forgot about that. Light silver gray looks so nice. It does. JK says it does. Thank you for the follow, Dan. Appreciate that. And Tantel, this is good info for when I start my sample box bat ones. Oh, yes. I have this, you know what it's like to walk by a bakery and smell fresh baked goods, like cinnamon rolls or whatever. I have this thing about bats. They should only be sold right off of the carder. So I hope your bat sampler is not compacted and has been shipped nice and everything like that. Truly, I never store bats because I end up recarding them. They're like your cookie out of the oven if you spin them straight off the carder. Now, all those bags in the back have my bats, and you can see they're regular grocery size paper bags, and I have 6 in there, so I'm not cramming them together. They're just kind of sitting there waiting, and I did hold them that long, so I'd be all ready for the tour. Thank you for the follow, Crafty Mom. Welcome. Oh, good, Tantel. That's great. You're going to post a picture sometime, somewhere on Discord. I'd like to see them. And that reminds me, I don't think I have posted any pictures of this, except, well, yeah, I did, but they were in the bag. You know, I didn't want to get the bats out, so maybe I need to post a picture in my Discord of a bat so that people can see it. Let me put my Discord up. There we go. Hopefully that still works. Let me know if it doesn't. Alright, so I do pre-draft it. All I did was take a bat and take a strip off the side, right down the long side like that. And I am pre-drafting because it's thicker and in some areas thinner in some areas based on where the fiber fed into the drum carder. Is the music too loud, guys? I think I got it too loud. I'm good. There we go. There we go. All right. I have a lot of shortcuts. I will be picking stuff off as I spin. That is the downside of any carded fiber. It includes everything. You can't get that stuff out unless you use comb top, unless you comb it and get top. Okay. Now, technically, this is woolen spun because the twist runs from here all the way back to where my fiber is. Oh, and I need to get my camera. Let me get my camera fixed so that you can see it. There we go. There we go. Now, long draw, where you take your arm and you go zip, zip, zip. I can't do that with my bats. They won't hold together. So I'm not really, I am woolen spinning. I won't necessarily call it a long draw, except for the fact that there is all of this distance from here to here, right? You can call that a long draw, as opposed to doing this, which is, you know, pinch and pull. Everybody knows pinch and pull. So that's why I call it a long draw, even though it's not the kind of things you see demonstrated sometimes. Okay, that'll be good, Tantel. She says, you posted it somewhere, but you'll do it in mine. All right. I'm sort of getting into the rhythm. The problem is the stuff. You know, I have to decide, do I leave it go in or do I stop and pull it off? So, just depends how I feel and how chunky it is, like this one. So need a little more pull in. JK, if you're not gone, but I do thank you very, very much for the raid. I appreciate it. Just want to say thank you. I didn't know you were going to be on today. I just happened to get on doing something else. Yeah. Oh, to post my information, stream name and everything earlier, and I saw you were on. You're trying to do extra. So am I. I know. Yeah, I'm doing my normal. I'm very flexible, but I am on the 3 days I'm trying to do my normal time. But I can be flexible. I have been checking this. I am going for, I got too thin. This one is getting up there around 14 wraps per inch, and I am trying to go more thicker than that. I may have pre-drafted this a little bit too much, but let's work on getting thicker here. That looks better. It's probably about, it's right between a 22 and 24. So I heard you say the Dorset horn. I can't tell you that really what the difference is without looking at my notes, but I don't remember. I remember Southdown spinning really nice. Um, and there were others that I thought, oh man, this is much softer than I expected, you know? Um, so the difference between just Dorset and Dorset Horn would be something I'd have to look up again. Don't know it off the top of my head. Um, the Dorset could be any of the variation of the Dorset. Yeah, it may just be. You're right. And maybe they do that because was it a shave it to save them? It wasn't a shave it to save them. So they may have done that because it may be a Dorset blend where there was other genetics in it, and putting other genetics in it might make it spin thinner. Oh, there's a possibility it might be a dwarf Dorset as well as a pole Dorset, since it comes from where I got your wheel. Okay. That's right, JK. Make sure you take care. I know. That's why I said I wasn't sure you were still here. I certainly understand. I'm excited about the next knit along, craft along, make along. Um, because, first of all, there's been a voice in the back of my head saying, are you going to knit anything for Christmas this year? You better get started. So, looking at the patterns is going to juice me for that, get me interested in something. And we'll see where it goes from there. Last year I knit a Christmas stocking, and I knit another one at the very, very beginning of this year. So I'm kind of in a Christmas stocking thing. And I have a whole bunch of little patterns. They're not big. You didn't really make any comment about whether there's how little it can be. I'm talking Christmas ornaments. I'm talking about different washcloths. I'm talking, those are the kind of things I knit for gifts. I'm not sure. I'll check with the rules and everything. I got on her Discord. So, I got on Rogue's Discord. JK said, yes, I have been feeling pulled to my stash and library versus new hot and trendy stuff. Yeah. Well, see, I went through my books at the end of last year. They have not made it out of the house yet. I have to be honest, I was going to take them to half price, and that's just been kind of difficult with the pandemic and everything. So they are packed up, ready to go. But in the process of doing that, there are a few that I said, okay, if I just knit this pattern, because it's very hard for me to copy. I used to do the thing where you're not supposed to, and take books into where I work and copy them on the copier, and then just keep the pattern and get rid of the book. I can't really do that on my computer. My printer is really crappy. So I want to knit those and then get rid of the book. And that was like exactly. Tantel says, my brain screeches all the things like always. And JK says, oh yeah, it's all fair game. Rogue says, those are perfectly fine. If the pattern is in your library, it counts. Oh man. I should post my pre-computer pattern library is all Xerox pages in 2 notebooks that are literally a 3-inch spine. I didn't want to get rid of them. And there's this thought, oh, those are probably all on the internet now somewhere. But I don't want to go through, and figure that all out. Maybe that's some year, huh? All the things some year. But that's good. Thank you. I'm glad that works. Okay, JK says I have to go run and get your lunch, and we need groceries. Oh, you didn't get your farmer's market yesterday, did you? Okay. You take care of yourself, and it's good talking to you, and thank you again for the raid. I appreciate it. Tantel says, oh, at some point I wanted to make a Christmas sweater. Oh, that's a good idea. Didn't but I'd probably need to buy the yarn I'd want and practice color work. Oh, you want to have a design on it like that. Yeah. I might have to copy Rogue's. Winterfell? I think it's that one. With all the blues that kill me, how gorgeous it is. Ooh, that looks worth looking up. That sounds nice. Happy shopping, JK. Thanks, Tantel. Also, digital library counts too. Now I'm out. Yeah, the market got poured on. Yeah. Okay. I know. I just get this. I just have to show these youngsters that, it wasn't all about digital patterns. And this is what we did. And I have a whole notebook full of sock patterns. Is there such a thing as an antique pattern? Sure there is. Got some of those too. But, Tantel, you want to learn some color work. Of course, a hat is the ideal thing, or a scarf where you aren't. Scarf first, and then a hat, so you can go in the round, and then do a Christmas stocking. Because there are some fun things to do with Christmas designs on them. Make your own design, maybe, depending on your courage. Maybe you don't use Christmas stockings like we do. Is that kind of a US thing? Thank you for following Knots and Stitches. Actually, I thought you already followed, but sometimes the names sound the same, right? Rogue Knitter says, I have a notebook like that full of quilt block patterns from my grandmother. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Let's see. Mine is, what I got from my grandmothers and kept a lookout at various other sources are the real old pattern books from the 40s, 30s, and 40s. They're little pamphlets, I like the baby stuff in that. kind of totally impractical, but we're set up to really keep the babies warm, in the days of not central heated places to live. Tentel says, I don't use them really, but they can be pretty decoration. Some families have them. Yeah, I forget that that's not a. Well, I think Germany uses it a lot. It just depends. The Christmas stocking exchange does ship worldwide. We do take swap partners worldwide, so there are plenty of them over there in that area. Alright, this is going really thin. Let me add some more. Oh, it's too soon to stretch. At the end of this roving, I will. Thank you, Cotton Spun. Rogner says, my grandma doesn't knit, so I didn't get any of those. She has a few crochet ones, yeah. My one grandmother knit, my other one was the gardener. So I got my love of outside from my paternal grandmother and my love of the handcrafts from my maternal one. Oh, I just had this moment of panic. I didn't weigh this bobbin, but I did. I weighed it yesterday as a final. Oh, everybody's staying cool. It is horrendous, but here in Kentucky, but not as bad as the West Coast. And there might there might be West Coast people on, but oh my goodness, what I saw on the weather news this morning was horrendous out there. So I hope everybody is staying cool. I think the 4 bats is all I'm going to put on each bobbin. Since I have 8 bats, that kind of makes sense. I have no guarantee that they'll spin up the same amount of singles on each one. I may have to do some fudging to apply, but... And I'm only going to do a 2-ply. I'm not going to do a 3-ply. Oh, Oregon, Crafty Mom. Oh, your little Crafty Mom says, oh, a little fluffy dog is camped out in front of the box fan. Oh, poor puppy. Yeah. My cat was acting kind of very, very more lethargic, more so than normal this morning. That's why I have the door closed. I wasn't going to let him come in. I don't think he's going to come around anyway. I think he's holed up somewhere sleeping, but he wasn't his usual self this morning. It might be the heat. cannot get this to spin thicker. Come on. I don't know what his problem is. I think I need to not pre-draft this quite so much. It's not spinning as thick as I want here. And I did with the other bats the other night. Sorry, kind of focusing on this a little bit. See if I can get my mojo back here. All right. I readjusted I put the drive band on a different ratio to get a little more twist and not a little lighter pull in, and I think that's going to help me. And I also didn't pre-draft quite as much. I was pre-drafting a little bit too much. I get carried away with that sometimes. I'm so used to commercial preps, which are pretty compacted. That's going better. This Crafty Mom asked what kind of wheel this is. It's a Magicraft. It's called the Aura. It's a relatively recent design. I've had it, I think, since 2015, maybe, something like that. If you're familiar with an advocate of art yarn called Pucky Fluff, she wrote a book. She is basically the designer of this in collaboration with Magicraft. And it's because she wanted this. The wheel isn't really in the camera. Sorry about the movement. She wanted this really open orifice, which the other Magicrafts have now too. But she was going with the very, very large bobbins because with the art yarns, a lot of time you get, real bulky yarns and everything. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Thank you, Crafty Mom. When you turn your head, your mic doesn't pick up as well. It's right here in front of my mouth. That surprises me. Must be on the side. I can go down here like that. That might be all right. Let me know if it's not. So anyway, it has two drive bands, but it's not a double drive. Both drive bands are connected to the treadle, and this black one they both turn the bobbin, but you get your different ratios by putting your drive bands on the one's called a drive band, one's called a tensioning band or something like that. But anyway, it is a pretty different style of wheel. It's taken me a couple years to get used to it. And I was spinning with way too much pull in, and I have been working on allowing it to not pull in as much and that sort of thing. So I've spin mainly on it all the time on the stream. I also have an electric Roberta electric wheel, and I have the little Nano, but I spin on this mostly because I like the big bobbins. I spin larger amounts on it. Okay, so that's actually worse. All right. We'll try it there. Thank you for letting me know. And I tend to speak soft, and then sometimes I get excited and I'm talking louder. And so anyway, we'll see. How's that? So it's Aura, A-U-R-A, by Magicraft. Seems better? Okay. Usually the mic is really, really good because it picks up my cat's purr and everything. I mean, and he's sitting on my lap, so I haven't worried too much about the mic. Now, when I go reaching over there and go after something, then yeah, I know the mic won't pick it up. Oh, and cotton spun, I'm going to stretch. I forgot. Totally forgot. It's when you turn a certain way or reach. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I have it right in front of me here. I'm like a kid. I don't sit still. It's Snoring Cat. When you say goodnight to somebody, I can tell you lean into the mic. It's always like you're saying it right over you, laying in bed, going to sleep. Good night. Sleep well. Uh, my hubby swears he can't hear me at all because I'm very soft spoken, very very low tone, timbre. You know, he's probably to the point he needs hearing aids, but not going to admit it yet. All right, I'm going to stretch. Get a drink of water. That's a freebie. Yeah, that's your DJ voice. You were a DJ? Seriously? I can see that. I've always thought that'd be fun. When you worked in radio, we were taught to get right up to the mic. I have a professional mic and speak softly so that it's how you say goodnight. And it is. It's perfect. It is. It sounds like you're at the very end of a show and you have this, this show has been brought to you by. Oh, right up to it. Oh. Nope, not doing that. I haven't been doing that. And besides, I what I say when I say goodbye is more upbeat and everything. It's not uh, I don't know. Just somehow happy spinning just doesn't seem to fit that. Maybe that's just me. You at work today? If you're not busy, I have a couple weaving. I have a question about your spinning for your weaving. You say you weave, um, that you were spinning either for warp or weft, and I'm not sure if you're spinning for both or if you're spinning for one or the other. But do you use singles when you do that, or do you ply it? That's my basic question, because I was looking at some information about dealing with singles specifically for weaving, and wondered if your looms that you set up there in that weaving and your guild are using singles. You typically ply, but you've done both. Okay. Um, when you have a single, do you set it like with steaming or something? How do you deal with the fact that it's somewhat still got twist, or do you have to be that careful not to get the twist in? Or does putting it on a warping board take care of that twist? There's your three options. Or tell me I'm completely wrong. Snoring Cat says, I usually spin and then dye. Oh, so the dyeing process sets the yarn. But you're but you're plying it. Huh. I don't think I've ever dyed a single. Is your guild getting ready for any more competitions or anything? Um, I'm right now. I'm keeping my eye out for skeins of yarn to enter in the state fair. When you dye a single, it springs into curlicues, so you have to dry it under tension. Okay. Okay. So you hang a weight from the skein. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. Something I didn't really know or think about. And if you're going to use the hand spun singles for warp, you have to really trust your joins. Yeah. Okay. What about keeping it under tension on a plastic nitty knotty and steaming it? Do you think that would set it enough? Well, that's not dyeing it though. Never mind. That would only be if you weren't going to dye it. Snoring Cat says, we have some demos coming up, but our next competition, not composition, competition, unless something else comes up before then, is the Pennsylvania Farm Show in early January. Okay. Interesting time to have a farm show. I guess they figure the farmers have nothing much to do during that time. Do they have that separate? Well, from the state fair, or does Pennsylvania not have a state fair? And if you don't have time to answer, don't worry about it. I understand you're working. Um, we have a national livestock show here in Louisville once a year, and we have the state fair in Louisville in July. I'm sorry, in August. I think the livestock show is in. I'm not really sure when it's in. The state fair has the big horse competition. The show horses, because it's Kentucky. It's all about horses. Snoring Cat says, I have seen people die on a nitty knotty, but that's way more fussy than I want to deal with, right? It's like, okay, it's the Pennsylvania equivalent of a state fair, she says. Yeah, I'm thinking about dying on nitty knotty needs something, a container that holds a certain depth and holds your nitty knotty exactly. And then I can see doing it, you know. But it would be fussy. Snoring Cat says, I don't know if we even have a state fair. She says also, my county has both a fair in July and a farm show in August. You must live in a pretty agricultural county then, really. I'm not at all sure what the difference is. It seems like there is a fourth judging, etc., at both of them. You mean you could win fourth place? Our state fair is a big deal. It supports the 4-H. Yeah, 4-H. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, that's what you meant. Yeah. It supports the 4-H. It has the horse show that goes on for a whole week of it. Lots of judging, lots of very expensive horses. But then they also bring in all sorts of agricultural animals. And they do it in shifts. One half of it is certain animals and the other half is the other animals. So I always have to go twice because I always want to see both of them, the sheep and the goats and the chickens and all of that. So I always end up going. It is a huge quilt show. That is one of the biggest parts of the textile department. They have enormous number of categories that you can enter in, and they hang those quilts on dividers that run in rows, and they hang it on both sides, and there's 6 rows of probably it depends on the size, but anywhere from 20 to 30 quilts per row. A huge number of quilts. I have never entered a quilt. I've entered other stuff, but mostly I just enter hand spun. Oh, that just totally took the twist out of everything there. Pull that off. All right. Get some more twist in there. Got my mojo back. It's doing pretty good now. Thank you, Cotton Spun. I will hydrate. So important this time of year. I have my mug, you can't see on the camera very well. It says, first I drink coffee, then I do the things. This was my Mother's Day gift. And they just took a mug, and it was like for my grandson. It came in a basket for my daughter, had a bunch of things. But it was just a wrap that you put on the mug, right? I don't know how you... I don't have a dishwasher, so I don't worry about, putting it through that, whether it'd come off or not. But I don't know exactly how you did it. She did it, but it's cool. I love the size of the mug. It keeps me going all stream. Hi, Sock Wizard. How are you? How is everything? And are you spinning or what for Tour de Fleece? I'm on early. I know. You probably wonder why I'm on early, but um, a group came and was getting done at JK Knits, and so I got on so they could rate me. Everything's good, Sock Wizard says. I spun a little earlier and took a break to do some knitting. Now spinning again and watching the race. I have only a little bit of day one watched so far because I saw that JK was on. So I'm trying to, if somebody's streaming for the Tour de Fleece, I'm trying to go ahead and watch them. So I don't know when I'm going to get my TV watching done. Can always do it after the race is over, after Tour de Fleece is over. So I'm trying to put 2 ounces on here. Each of these bats is about 1.3 ounce. So it varies, but I should get, if I do two bats, I will have the 2 ounces plus. Aiming pretty much for 4 ounces of fiber spun a day. Not always this fiber, other fiber too. You're spinning, Sock Wizard says, I'm spinning my blue face Leicester braid. And last night you plied some Corriedale. This morning I spun Clune Forest for Shave 'em to Save 'em. And it's my second bobbin of 2 ounces of single on each bobbin. So I'll ply those 2 bobbins. I have another 4 ounces to spin. So it's a couple day project. I have to figure out when the first challenge day is, because I have a special spin for that. It's called no, I can't say it. Isn't that terrible? I just drew a huge blank. All right. So I'm going to attach locks to a yarn, a single going into there. And the word will come to me or somebody will tell me. It's tailspun. Ta-da! Tailspun yarn. And it's with this caracal that is just amazing. The locks are just amazing. So when I spin the yarn into that, it catches the end of this. That's why it's called tailspun. And this part stays out, and you end up with a yarn that looks like a sheep. Now you can put these as close or as far away apart as you want, but in between you have a single, and basically it's a single yarn, so it's somewhat kinky. It you have to watch your tension, but you have to have enough tension. You have to watch how much twist you're getting in there, but you also have to get enough to catch and hold your tails, your locks. But this stuff is just amazing. I didn't want to make yarn into this. I wanted it to be like this. I just think it's so cool. And then I see people who take this kind of stuff, this type of yarn with the tailspun, and maybe do an edging around the hat or something like that, right? It's most of the time it's a yarn I keep and I look at. But that's going to be the first challenge. Sorry, I turned away from the mic. That's going to be the first challenge day for the turtle fleece. You like plying. A lot of people, a lot of people don't. And yeah, you're right. There's some fun ways to ply. Your 3-ply, the chain ply, most people really are not fond of, but I like it. I like chain plying. And the 3-ply, where you just have 3 singles going in, is very interesting looking and not hard to do. You just have to keep them flowing separately. Suckwizard said, that looks really nice. I love those locks, I know. I've mainly plied from the inside and outside of the same ball. Yeah. I think I made a ply ball on my first ply, though. I ply from the bobbins. I really don't. If I want to take it off the bobbin, I'm putting it on a storage bobbin, something. But I have something that I can put onto my Lazy Kate. This is such a relaxing way to spin. First of all, I don't have to treadle hard. It's just a really nice slow treadle. And the fiber just kind of flows. It would be better if it was a commercial prepped roving or fiber instead of my own where it has the shortcuts in it. Other than that, it is just so relaxing. Which is a good thing. If I have 26 ounces of this to spin, it's a good thing. I enjoy it. Hello, Masatis. How are you? Welcome. Am I saying your name right? You're doing okay. That's good. Miss Misa. Misa? Is that Misa? Misa? Is it E or A? Misa? I like Misa. You'll probably get called that whether you like it or not. Yeah, Misa. Thank you. Since that's what I want to call you, it'll come out that way. Are you spinning today for Tour de Fleece? You chose, Misa says, I actually chose my username based off the name Misa. I've gone by Misa for years. And then there's a, well, there's a story coming, I think. um, Speaking of picking a name, I have been Lucinia on the internet for years. Lussina. And that was back in the day, when the computer stuff was getting set up and you had to pick a username and you weren't supposed to use your real name and all that. And I picked it out of a book that I was reading currently because I liked the character's name. So, Misa says, I will be. I got distracted and blended some Rambouillet into Scritchy Shetland because I didn't want to touch my Shetland. I'm in a weird mood. So I'll get to spinning once I stop ADHDing. So you're trying to get your Shetland soften up a little bit. I hope that works for you. And Shetland can be, sometimes it's not real soft and sometimes it's really soft. But generally I call it a medium wool. And you may just be, everybody has different sensitivities to the wool. That's why I never know what to say because I don't mind it, but other people might not like it at all. When I'm talking about a certain breed and how it feels and everything. Misa says, yep, and it helped a bit. Good. You messed up on a dye and over-dyed your Shetland, and it made it super crunchy. Oh, it's not the fiber. Oops, I gotcha. Yeah. This fiber that I'm spinning actually has enough. You can see my hands are slick. It has just a little bit of lanolin still in it, in spite of a lot of washing and going through the drum carder. I am kind of surprised by that. I thought I would, when I washed it, it was getting really good and clean. It didn't feel that bad when it was drying. I didn't really notice it until I drum carded it. Now I'm not unhappy with that. It'll wash out when I wash the yarn, and I think it's kind of helping spin the way I want to spin it with with this draw. Misa says it was totally an oops. And yeah, I'm getting a nice lotioning. I know. Okay, Sock Wizard, going into lurk. The race is getting exciting. Oh, don't tell me about it, but I'll watch it tomorrow. Talk to you later. See you later. Catch you later. I tell you that Tour de Fleece can get so excited, and those commentators can get so excited about it, and but I've only watched part of the first day, yesterday's. I have it recorded, and it takes me a while to get through the recordings. Partly because I'm sharing the TV with hubby, and partly because I'm off doing other things or sitting in here instead of watching it on the TV. But yeah, I don't mind the lanolin Misa at all. It's washes right off and feels kind of good. It just was a little bit of a surprise because it didn't really show up until I drum carded the fiber. And I've had dying oopses too. Trust me. It was not crunchy, just so sticky. Even after rinse after rinse after rinse, I could not get the stickiness out of it. And I think it was more the dye bound with the lanolin or something. Masadi's. Misa says, I haven't had much lanolin issues quite yet, but I kind of feel like I'm overwashing. And Crafty Mom says, you don't mind the lanolin going through your drum carder? No, because I didn't see any. It's not that thick to affect the teeth, and in some ways they say doing it every now and then, just like you oil your spinning wheel, every now and then kind of protects the teeth a little bit. Now, I may be careful about what I card next. Well, no, I already carded something else after this CVM. I carded a Rambouillet. And I actually, it's sitting back there, that white, little bit of white that you see sticking up out of a bag, that's Rambouillet. I haven't spun any yet to know whether it's got any stickiness to it or not. But normally they say, no, don't card dirty fleece, high lanolin. But after this has been through a good hot soak and several rinses, the lanolin is pretty small amount. So the caveat is, yeah, I know it's going to be there. I don't think it's going to affect anything, and I will be carding wool on it for a while, which will take care of anything that might be lingering on it. Just be aware of it. The next thing that I could card on it would be alpaca. And of course, it doesn't have any lanolin. So I might not be carding that for a little bit until I get a number of bats. I carded 5 bats of that Rambouillet. I would think that might have cleaned it off anyway. Crafty Mom says, I have some polypay fleece that looks clean, but it oils my hands a little. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'd like to not have to rewash it, but it was told never to put any lanolin through your drum carder. Your small drum would be more of an issue than your big drum, because a lot of it is brushing it but not having the fiber on it to pick it up, especially following any that you put on there. I wouldn't want to make it a practice that every fleece was that way, but I have to admit it's been forever since I've had a fleece that felt like this after washing it. I'm a little surprised. I think I used a different, I didn't use Power Scour or, Scour the Scoundrel from Reading. I think I used something else called Beyond Clean, and it was a sample bottle, and I have a feeling that's why I ran into this, and I probably am not going to use it again. I really like Power Scour by Unicorn. I like Reddings. I like, I forget her first name, but it's Natalie. Natalie Reddings, Scour the Scoundrel, or Wash and Dye. I like all of those products. But I don't use Dawn anymore. It will work. I just don't use it anymore. And go ahead and buy the stuff that's made for washing fleeces. And like I said, it didn't feel this way. Um, and the only difference might be I washed it when it was cold, colder in the house, and it's very warm in the house. And of course, lanolin responds to the heat, so it could be just the difference in temperature. You still use Dawn? That's okay. There really is. I will tell you this. People say, "Oh no, it's too hard on your fiber," but I used it for years. Really, I only started using the other stuff I just mentioned probably 5 years ago. And I washed a lot of fleece for 10 years before that using Dawn. And some of that fleece I have gotten out, and I can feel that it's just not as bouncy, and it has a little texture problem after being stored many years after being washed with Dawn. But it didn't destroy the fiber, right? It's usable. It's like it needs spinning oil on it before you spin it. It's too dry. That's the best. That's the best way I can explain it. Thank you, Cotton Spawn. I will. I am not spinning this as fast as I did yesterday. I was so gung ho yesterday. I slowed down today. Snoring cat. I mostly use Dawn or whatever dish detergent you have. You don't like Power Scour or those sorts of things. For me, they make the fleece too dry. Let's see. It's just a personal preference. Also, I will admit, storing fleece for that longer period of time is not a really good thing. I mean, I have it protected and I have it in boxes which moths are supposedly not liking to chew through, and there are mothballs in the room, and I've never had any trouble that way, but it might be heat related because the summer heat may have gotten to it. In my upstairs room, I close the vent, don't air condition it unless I'm up there. And as you may or may not know, I have not been able to go into my craft room upstairs for about 3 years now. Not much. I can get up there once in a while, but it's a struggle. Gonna get better. My knee is doing so much better. So, stairs are gonna get better. I need to make it a thing. I can do like 5, 6 steps up and down. No problem. That's not a problem. The problem is this is a double flight of steps. It goes, up 13, hall, up 6. So it's a double. There's a lot of steps to go upstairs. This is a real old farmhouse. Real old. Oh, you're back quick, Sock Wizard. Yeah, Orvis, I know. Orvis paste, a lot of mills use. Um, and I've had stuff that came from mills that was, greasy like this, too. Um, I've never bought it because to me, it just was always such a big tub. I think I bought a small size once. One time when I went to SAF, which is the one down in South Carolina, North Carolina, somewhere down in there. Crafty Mom says, I tried Orvis, but I think it made my wool brittle. I just got some kookaburra to try, and so far I like it. Haven't heard of that one. Oh. Well, I think the big thing is getting it rinsed out good. And I swear by really hot water. I am one to have my hot water heater set very high, but you don't have to do that. You can heat water to add, to your washing thing, but I personally like just really hot water. And there are a lot of times I do hot water only first, and then I put the drain that, squeeze it out, and then I put the soap in, whatever I'm using. Kookaburra sounds like it's from Australia. Snoring Cat said, yep, we did a project in the guild where we each submitted samples of yarn the way we normally spin, and then each participant got samples from each other and washed them the way we normally wash our own yarn. All sorts of products and methods were used, and the consensus was there was not any noticeable difference whether the yarn was thwacked or not, or what cleaning agent was used, although no one used Power Scour, and a year later the samples are indistinguishable. That's really good study. I love guilds. I really wish I had something. I should start one, I know, but it's just not something I'm going to do right now. But anyway, I like that kind of stuff. That is so cool. I will say, there is a spinning guild in Lexington or Frankfurt, not sure which. And they met regularly, and I could never go because I was working, but I intended to start going, and then COVID hit, and so there may be that potential eventually that I'll be able to go when things get back to normal. But Snoring Cat, that is really interesting. First of all, there's two things though that you're talking about washing the yarn. So wasn't the fiber washed before you washed the yarn? So we're not really going, you're really going for whether you need to full it or, how you dry it or that kind of stuff. The fiber was already washed, correct? And she says everybody got their own yarns back in the end. Sock Wizard says, so I just saw the end of stage 2, and the winner is really emotional about it. Smiling face with tears. He's straight up weeping. It's adorable. Oh. There are 42 riders this year. This is their first Tour de France. That's a lot. I don't know how many there are. Aren't there over 200? But still, that's a lot, high percent. Not the Stitches says, okay, I've been spinning for most of the past 4 years. I think I'm good on reaching my goal of spending an hour a day. Spinning, I think you mean spinning an hour a day. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I read that 4 years. 4 hours. You've been spinning today for 4 hours, so you're good for reaching your goal of spinning an hour a day. That's awesome. When I set that spin every day goal, I don't set a specific time, but that was because I worked in the past, because I worked and I only had some time in the morning, and so maybe I'd get 30 minutes in. But hour a day is a good one. Crafty Mom says yes, Kookaburra is Australian. You set 5-gallon buckets in the sun and the wool was in the afternoon. The water gets plenty hot. Yes, it would today for me too. And also says my local guild is starting to meet again. That's good. Snoring Cat says some was from washed fleece and some was spun in the grease. See, and you can't tell the difference. I have never spun in the grease. Completely. I mean, without doing something. I don't count this as spinning in the grease, but because to me, I don't want to mess with all that dirt and everything on my bobbins. So I really have never spun in the grease. I should try it sometime. I would with a really good fleece. Maybe a coated one or something. Snoring Cat also says people also noted whether they tempt their water or what temp they used. Yeah. But still, that was a good study. Very interesting. The only part of that study that was inconsistent is the types of fiber. I'm assuming is all different kinds of fiber, not the same fiber for every person. Breed of sheep, let me say it that way. And whether you measured wraps per inch before and after the washing. Because, see, that's too many parameters. Then you get into the wraps per inch change, how you handle that. That's what I look for more than anything. Or is that what you were? If that's what you were doing, I missed that. Snoring Cat says I learned to spin in the grease. It was years before I realized you could wash it first. I can just hear you saying that. It was in the 70s and still a back to the land mentality. Well, you know, honey, you and I are soul sisters because that's exactly when I learned to spin. And yes, I spun in the grease, my first one, and promptly threw it away because I was like, I don't think this is the way it's supposed to be. But it was off of a meat sheep, of course, you know. Come a long way, baby. But yes, back to the land on my whopping big 1.25 acre farm, raising goats, milking goats, raising chickens who died, raising turkeys who died. Yeah. Raising bees that I got rid of because I couldn't stand the fact that the bees thought the acre was their land and not mine. And of course it is, but it was too close quarters for my comfort. Found out that there's an awful lot of this nature stuff that best be left alone, not messed with. Snoring Cat says right, but it was more about each person seeing an example of how different processing methods affect their own yarn. So I got back many skeins that had been washed by Jen, Marilyn, Karen, Linda, etc. So I was comparing your own yarn with your own yarn. Okay, so that's how you knew what it did. Okay, yeah. Snoring Cat says one of the things some participants got out of it that was that all the fussing they were doing wasn't getting them any different, better results than people who did it without the fussing. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing I want done when I wash a skein of yarn is set the twist. And to make sure it's not going to bleed. Those are the two parameters. That's the only thing I'm looking for, really. Boy, I can't get that joined. I don't like it. You too. Okay, good. Yeah. Tentel says, my yarn turns out how it turns out at this stage. I wash it, sometimes I snap it, sometimes I forget, and then I let it air dry, but I don't bother to hang anything on it. I never have either. I've never weighted my yarn. The only time I've put tension on yarn, I have wrapped it on my plastic nitty knotty and wet it and let it dry it that way. That's the only way I've tensioned a yarn. And I did it mostly with Angora. And a lot of times the Angora was a single, which is why I was doing it that way. But the Angora was usually that's really about the only one I've done that way. And Snoring Cat says, to be honest, a lot of times I'll knit without washing the yarn because the twist will relax when I wet the finished knitted item. Yeah, I really don't like to store the yarn without washing it. It just makes me feel better to have it washed. So since I'm not knitting much with my yarn right now, I mean hardly at all, that's not true. I am knitting the one big project, the rug, and it's taking a long time. So but in general, I like to go ahead and wash it. I think that's mostly because I want that, if it's going to puff up, I want it to puff up so that when I'm knitting with it, and I'm not happy with the fabric I'm getting, it's not, I know it's because of the yarn and it's not because the yarn isn't washed, if that makes sense. I lay my yarn flat to dry. Once in a while, when it's really, really humid, before I had central air, which, I got central air maybe 4 years ago, and I had to dry skeins, I would drape them over a yardstick and prop the yardstick between, support it between two things and then blow the fan on it, blow a box fan on it, in order to get them dry. But now that I have central air, they dry fine. I lay them out on a sweater dryer thing. And I also store my skeins of yarn all together. So, I don't want a mixture of washed and not washed that way. Snoring Cat, you're probably just knitting with it right away. Snoring Cat says, yeah, knitting or weaving with it, yarn doesn't typically sit around unused for long, at least not hand spun. I got that impression. You do nice long streams, and in spite of having a very active chat, you get a lot done on stream doing it that much. You get more done on, yeah, when not on stream. Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean. See, it took me 2 hours to spin one bat. You're right, when there's a lot of chat, it's a big difference. Yesterday I spun 2 bats in 2 hours. So it does slow you down, doesn't it? Sock Wizard said, I told my partner I wanted to make a backstrap bloom, and she's like, but won't you need a lot of yarn to weave with? And I'm like, sweetie. So there's one or two answers to that. I have a lot of yarn, or just don't worry about that. Right? Snoring Cat, streaming was supposed to keep me honest. I'd be committed to working on stuff, but I can knit 2 pair of fingerless mitts faster off stream than it takes to knit one on stream. Wow. Tantel says, I did 2 25-gram bobbins today, but yesterday I only did 1. Were you streaming? Story Cat says, she'll learn, right? Telling Sock Wizard, she'll figure it out. Sock Wizard says, I think she was curious about what I'd use for warp because she thinks I need a specific kind of yarn for that. With the backstrap, All you need is a certain thickness, so it goes through those little heddle things. Tantel says, yeah, me too, but at least I'm chatting with my voice. I can still use my hands more or less and don't have to spend hours deciding on what to do because chat can help when I have the company. Oh, okay. Sockwood says, that is actually something I'll have to look into. You need strength. It can't fall apart. I mean, Snoring Cat can give you a little heads up on that more than me. I'm not the weaver. But Snoring Cat, that's a good question. Have you ever used a backstrap? I never have. I've never tried it. All I've done is the little, just the little tiny loom square things that have the nails. I have a square one and a triangle one. That's the only thing I do, is that kind of weaving. Sockwood says, I've used a cotton warp on my peg loom. That should work fine for a backstrap. Snoring Cat says, I have, but I get frustrated. I tend to lean forward whenever I weave, and the backstrap requires that you be back. That's right, to maintain the tension. It makes my brain hurt. You lean forward to look at what the pattern's doing. It's just an automatic response to looking for the emerging pattern. And you do that and all your warp folds in on itself and you can't see it. Well, I was talking about my first challenge day. My second one is to take the square one that I was talking about and get a warp set up on it. And then I have one of the Shave 'em to Save 'em Navajo churro. I have Navajo churro that it's a very lofty single that I just want to weave and make kind of like a hot mat to sit things on or something like that. The Shave 'em to Save 'em, I didn't, that's the kind of yarn I wanted to make, and I don't want to submit it as just the yarn that's on the Nitty Noddy that, isn't off it. So I thought I'd take it one step further and put it into a project. And that's the only thing I could think to do with it, is to make a hot mat with it. I suppose I could try knitting with it, but I really want to go ahead and, I think it's better to go ahead and just do the weaving. So that's my other challenge day for Tour de Fleece, because I want to get that done for the Shave 'em to Save 'em. What have I missed here? Chantel says, I want to find a nice cotton warp, coned thread for warp when I do weaving next. By the way, Woolery is a really good source for coned weaving yarns. Sock Wizard says, I'm trying to lean back more when I craft because hunching over is messing up my back. Yeah, I have learned to sit back. See, that's the thing about these chairs, is they don't support your back unless you sit back. And I am not one to sit back when I spin. And I have been working on trying to sit back and do exactly the same thing. Or after I'm done with streaming, my back feels it. I can feel it. Speaking of which, I have been on 2 hours. I'm not done. I'm going to keep on, but I am going to take a short walk break and maybe grab a snack and come back and work on the next bat. So, I won't be long, but I best do be kind to my knees and get up and walk a little. After I spin the other bat, I will be done with my spinning for the day. And that's nice because then I can sit in my chair, put my feet up and knit. So that gives me a nice rest break. Yarn Crafter Corner says, oh, let me go up here a little bit. You guys are... Tentel says, I'm guilty of this, trying to prove my posture and double check my glasses are correct. I did buy a magnifier lamp to help tiny things too, yeah. I wear glasses if I'm doing cross stitch, or knitting a lace pattern. I have to wear. They're not readers, they're corrective, but it helps me to see real close work like that. And Yarncrafted Corner says, same on the hunching too. Sock Wizard says, does it make sense to use a cotton warp with a wool weft? Or does that cause problems? That's a good question. These are questions I have for the weavers. Tentel says, I don't like to sit back past vertical, and most chairs don't land me unless I feel like I'm reclining. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's not exactly reclining, but it is not. This upright position that I'm in right now, this is my natural, I want to sit position, but it doesn't really support your back very well, unless you have something on it. And it's especially true with the hobbies, yeah. And Yarn Crafter's Corners agrees. Also, hi, yeah, hi. Snoring Cat says, for weaving, especially on a floor loom, leaning forward isn't the same as hunching. Leaning, reaching forward, yeah. Sitting up straight, leaning back for a back strap are just different positions. I'm just not accustomed to the leaning back thing. That's right. You have a forward-backward motion when you're weaving, because of the reaching for the beater, right? And Tantel says, I think if you're not going for a balanced weave, it's no problem to have different warp and weft. I guess the different fibers come into play when caring for the finished item. And not balanced weave is what she meant. And Sakura said, I didn't mean to imply you were hunching. I'm just always hunching, so I'm trying to fix my posture by sitting back more. And she says, Jamie, you can absolutely mix fibers for warp and weft. Snoring Cat says. I think they do it all the time. There's a wide choice of fibers, more than cotton. And when I was looking for my daughter's special warp, the 10 cells was a big one, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Okay, everybody, please don't go away. I'll be back. I promise there'll be more. I'm going to turn the music up just a little bit. I'm going to put it on my Be Right Back, and you guys just chat away, and I'll be back soon. What did I miss? Boy, my hair is messy. All right, let's see here. Oh, in Yarn Crafter's Corner, I see your little icon thing going there. Oh, we're gonna, okay, sock wizards are balanced as opposed to warp facing or weft facing. I mean, you can use a thinner warp to show off your weft material. I think Tantel is saying, and that's usually what I'm familiar with. Tantel says, I don't know all the technical terms. I'm not a prolific weaver, but I know some folks use the standard for their warp and whatever on weft, especially the tapestry style weaving. On tapestry, yeah, you've got to. I like tapestry style weaving. I have done that also, and I think that I really enjoy more than anything. Being able to make a picture, just make a design or whatever. Tantail's gonna go get food, and I think you're in your Crafter's Corner. That's a lurk. Okay. That's a divical lurk. Divical lurk. Okay. Sock Wizard says, I think I've already spun for a few hours today. Me too. This is going to be longer than I did yesterday, but I'm getting less done. I'm spinning slower. Actually, this is my, oh, wrong camera. Let me go back to there we go. This is the Roberta bobbin that I spun this morning. It only took me an hour and a half. It's a single. It's very, it's going to be about 10 reps per inch when I ply it. And it's Clune Forest. And this is my second one, so I'll ply this tomorrow. And it went fast. It was an hour and a half. So really, the spinning for that was real quick. Do you have a nitty naughty being made for you, or it's coming? You bought it. It's coming. Oh yeah, I thought so. Your partner's volunteered to make one, but I don't think she would realize you'd need it so soon. You can take it off. Cotton spun, I did. I just walked all over the house, but I'll stretch for you. Getting started on the second bath here. What was I going to say? You can wrap your yarn this way, right? Just hang on to this part and have something to tie it with, and then you got your skein. So you don't really have to have the nitty naughty. You went to the hardware store on Wednesday, but there weren't any big enough dowels, so I'm waiting for her to source and obtain big enough dowels. You don't want to do the plastic pipe, the plastic stuff. That's quick and easy. Okay, this is the last one in this bag. There's another bag, but first empty bag of Tour de Fleece. Woohoo! And this one is kind of junky on the back here. I'm gonna pull this off, and oh, I'm losing a lot of it here. I don't want to pull that off. Let's pull it this way. And set it here and spin it on the end of my bobbin. See how it spins. Cotton spun. What happened? Okay, I'm so sorry. That happened because of the name of your store. Sock Wizard says, I usually wrap my yarn on chairs, but I wanted the Nitty Knotty to measure the yardage for Stash Dash. And she doesn't want to do the plastic. Okay. Dick Blick Art Supply is my dowel source. You know, that's a really good point. Or even, you know, framing things. I made a backstrap loom, but getting a balanced weave was frustrating, so I saved for a 4-shaft table loom while practicing with the backstrap. Okay. I am so sorry that timed you out. It was just 1 second. I didn't let it long. Sock Wizard says, anyway, I guess I can measure the yardage another way if it doesn't look like I have a Nitty Knotty today or tomorrow. All right, let's think about how you can measure your yardage. Oh, and you already checked that out. You didn't see any dowels. If you have do you have a scale to weigh? What the one way that I have done it when I, you know, couldn't wrap it, or for whatever reason I didn't want to wrap it, is to take a yardstick. So you need a yardstick and a scale. Well, that didn't time me out. That's good. Your yardstick, I choose the yardstick because you want enough of a measurable weight of your yarn. So if you can do a complete wraparound, you have 2 yards, right? And don't cut it or anything. Just pinch where it is and put it on your scale. And that'll, if you do it right, you'll get a little idea. But mainly the best thing to do is, like, if you have some way to measure a known amount of your yarn, like 2 yards, and get a weight, then you measure your whole skein and multiply, and you get your yardage. It's a math thing, but I didn't say you multiply. I said you multiply. That's not right. So if your 2 yards weighs 1 ounce, you do multiply. And then you weigh your skein and it's 20 ounces, you have 20 yards. Does that make sense? If the yarn is a consistent thickness, and I just give that, because you're doing a wag, you're doing a guess at it. Anyway, it's just a, do I have enough of this yarn to do what I want to do kind of thing without skeining it off and going through all that bother. The only bad part is whether you're willing. It works best if you have a small skein of the big skein. I always end up with small skeins of the big skeins because when I ply things together, they don't always come out even, and then I have a separate one that's a little skein. And a lot of times I can use that little skein for exactly that reason. I usually use it for swatching, but it would work for measuring too. See, I always record my yardage pre-washing anyway, because um, once I put it on the Nitty Knotty, and I tie that up and then I wash it. I don't re-skein it very often. Once in a while I will for a certain reason, but I that yardage can change. You really shouldn't measure your yardage on a Nitty Knotty anyway. You should have the skein relaxed, supposedly after washing it, and then, you know, take your diameter with like a tape measure. I mean, a sewing tape measure, and you know how many times you went around the thing, but you measure that and then multiply it by how many times you went around your whatever your Nitty Knotty is. I don't do it that way. My wood one is 2 yards, my plastic one is 1 yard. I just count how many times I wrap it and count that as the yardage. It's just an estimate. It's just a guess. Because it's not really the way you're supposed to get an accurate measurement. The most accurate measurement, either McMorran balance or a yarn meter reading, when you run it through this little meter thing that counts it as you do it. Sockwizzard says, okay, anyway, I should go. Maybe I'll take my plied Corriedale off the spindle later, and then I can ply more Corriedale, or maybe I'll just do that tomorrow. Happy spinning. Thank you for stopping by. You too. See you later. Have a good night. See you later, alligator. Take care, Snoring Cat. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. Happy spinning. I am happy spinning. I am so psyched about the next couple weeks. One, getting things spun, getting some stuff done. This CVM, not this. This is relatively new to my stash because I got it for Shave and Save passport. But the next that I'm going to spin after this, the dark, has been in my stash a long time. And I've even spun some of it for some other things. It was a huge fleece. So I'm really glad to be getting it done. Peas. That's her little emoticon. Love you like peas. Can tell you're winding down for the evening. Let's see. It's not quite that late. Well, yeah, 9 o'clock. I am a very early riser. So I'm generally in bed by 10 o'clock. There are times I'm up by 4 in the morning. And I may hang out in bed and listen to a book or something, but I'm not sleeping anymore. I worked what was a second shift when I worked, and it was start at 1 o'clock and get off at 9:30. I just finally, I think I just got into the habit of that was the end of my day, and it was, I would stay up after I got home. I would stay up for a little bit. I'd usually go to bed by 11. I go to bed even earlier now, but it's a hard habit to break after years and years of working that shift. I'd get up in the mornings to have the time to do stuff before going to work. Made full days. Well, I could do that sometimes in the winter when it's not, but I seem to wake with the natural light even though I have the curtains closed. And part of my issue right now is the knee healing doesn't from knee surgery doesn't want to be in bed anymore. It doesn't like to stay in the same position for long periods of time, so it wakes me up. Whoa, that didn't work at all. Let's fix that. There we go. I tell you, it's been one of the technological wonders to have the audio books, so you don't have to read in bed with a light. Stick a earplug in and listen in the dark, as well as tablets and iPads and all that. You know, doesn't have to be the TV anymore. It's pretty awesome. Your old role at this company was weeks alternating 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 9 to 5. Yeah. I tend to get woken earlier now because of my husband. He likes to rise between 7 and 8:30. And the cat. The cat gets you up? What, hubby can't feed the cat? Sometimes I'm sleeping more just dozing. Yeah, that's what I have fallen asleep while listening to a book, you know. And I hate that because then I have to go back. So I don't know what I missed. By the way, Tantel, your cat, is it Toby, I think, is yin to my yang. The white and black, and mine is the black and white. I love the fact that it got in there, its little sleeper hidey hole thing. Pretty sure I have you right. Yeah, okay. Tantel says, I love my Kindle Paperwhite. Don't have to squint in the full sun or struggle to see in different lights like the old screens. Ah, I don't have a Paperwhite. I just have a Kindle. And Tantel says he feeds him, but the cat demands cuddles from both of us. Oh. So his name's Toby. Yeah, he has a couple of spots. I think that you were thinking about that when you saw Newman? Yeah, except Toby isn't wearing a white tux, unfortunately. No, he's dressed in white suit. He's all white. When I saw him cuddled in there, I thought, oh man, he's just like the opposite of Newman. All his white and black spots. Yeah, he has spots instead of a specific the tuxedo. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Newman wasn't well this morning. I don't know what's going on with him. He very rarely is sick, but was very lethargic this morning, so we've got our eye on him. See what's going on, if he needs anything. He sat in my lap though, purred. I mean, he just was having a sleepy day. Maybe he was out a lot at night. I didn't realize it. Because he can come and go. He has a cat door. He can come and go as he pleases. Okay, Cotton Spun. I even got new water when I took my little break. Got a little bit of water, or fresh water. He has a bit on his chin, a stripy tail, and 2 black spots. Aww. I have never had a white cat. I've had so many different colors. I've never had a true calico. I've had close, but not really a true calico. I've never had a white cat. That's just not because I don't want one. It just, whenever we have had to get a cat, and we a lot of times haven't had to go get one because they would find us or one way or another. But the few times that I've gone to the Humane Society to get a cat, it just, the one that was right, has either been black or gray or yellow, seems like. Tentel said, I had a white tortie, calico. Yeah. Well, see, calico is different. Okay, tortoise to me isn't really a calico, but I don't know how they call it. And a black cat at the same time couldn't wear anything without floof all over it. Yeah. Because I've had one that I call a tortoise, where they have the mixture, but I've never had one that had specific white spots and specific colored spots and that sort of thing. I've had, it was probably a breed with something else, but I've had a Siamese that had those markings, the typical Siamese markings. Her name was Jasmine. I have had a lot of cats, and I have a lot of cat stories. She was white with tortoiseshell markings, like the blanket thrown over her. Well, yeah, I see why you would say that's calico then. Yeah. That's calico. Oh, you love the Siamese colors on the crossbreeds. I know. She may have been, quite a bit. Because she had the blue eyes, the weird eyes, and she had that voice, the voice, specific voice. She was, as a lot of my cats have been in the past, somebody saying, there's this cat at my house and I can't take care of it. It just wandered in and I'm looking for a home for it, that kind of thing. And I took her, and about 3 days later, she had a dead litter of babies. She was very young herself. She had no business being pregnant. And I'm not saying that in the way it sounds, but she was too young to be pregnant. Anyway, she lived with me for the rest of her life. She found her life home. That cat loved to climb. She would get, now she was going up a set of stairs to the second story of a barn and then going through the barn to get up on the barn roof. She would get up on the barn roof. And she also, we had a real short, what would have been like a light pole, where they would have a yard light on it. It wasn't your standard sized telephone pole or anything like that, but she would get on the very tip top of that, curl herself into a circle and sleep on top of that pole. I have a picture of that somewhere. That it was just amazing. She could do that. It was under a tree, she was in the shade, and she'd sleep up there. Color-pointed kittens are so cute. Yes. Oh, bless. At least she had a nice, safe home with you. Yeah. Yeah. And she says, yeah, Toby is a troublemaker, too. My mom compares him to my old calico. She was trouble, too. But she was smarter than Toby, I think. Hey, they do sleep in... Tantel says they sleep in the weirdest places. The other one, a different cat. I have a banister. And, of course, the step banister going up the steps, you can't lay on. You would just slide right down. But at the top of the steps is a short hallway. Then the steps turn and go up, 6 more steps. That's the way the steps were built in this old house. And so at that top hall was a banister that was straight and flat, but only, regular wood size. And that cat would sleep up there with all 4 legs hanging down on that banister. That was Rita. Rita, we used to say was a dumb blonde, although she was like that tortoise color, but she was short a few neurons, I think. But that's where she slept. Yeah. I do have a picture, and of course, there is lots of places you can have books made and pictures made, and one of these times I want to do a collection of the pets that I've had in a memory book with pictures like that. Tentel says, my black cat was a silly girl too. Mom says she was a sandwich short. To me, she was the picnic short, but very loving, almost like a puppy. Oh, love belly rubs and human attention. Didn't play, though. Preferred to boops everything with her face. What? Newman's like that. He wants to rub everything. You saw, he wants, this is mine, I always say that. He's marking it, this is mine, and of course he does that to me too. He'll eat his, we call it gushy food, canned food, and come in and want to wipe his face all over me, and I'm like, you smell like fish, go away. Newman is smart. Newman is very smart, and I have told a number of times on stream about him getting out of the house when we were on vacation and everything was locked up and we don't know how he got out. So, we put a cat door in for him because of that. I didn't want him getting out whatever way he was doing without me knowing, in case he was doing something dangerous. So, he's smart. He's real smart. Oh, okay. Toby's young. He's 1. Okay. Yeah, he's still growing up. Toby loves a good head rub and chin scratch. You know, excuse me a minute. I think it's time for maybe some little peppier music here. Don't want to wake everybody up, but I need a little something more. Let's see. Do we have jazz anywhere? There we go. Let's see how this is going to go.
Give them a satisfaction they couldn't get any other way.
We'll see if Pretzel plays good. I had some trouble with this channel before. We'll see. Tentel says he's too big to run along the fence properly, so he awkwardly puts one foot on top of one on the top and one on the brace on the rear and almost falls off when he tries to go quick. The calico was like the ballerina on the fence, swift and graceful. Yeah. Newman is a hunter. That's the only thing about him, and of course I got him specifically. I asked for at the Humane Society. I told him I lived in an old house and I need a mouser, so I asked for that specifically, and he really is. He's a hunter. I'd get this done faster if I didn't have to pick out so much. See if this is two different sources. This is one source, and then what the darker one is a different source. So see if it's how bad it is. Hopefully it's not as bad, because I have more of it. Yeah, Pretzel is. Well, for a while there, it was playing the same song over and over and over. I think that is no longer happening, but I kind of keep my eye on it. Like, it was fine on that chill channel that I had on. Toby's been bringing you presents recently. Oh, yeah. I usually don't mind. Most of the time it's mice, and I don't mind. Once in a while I get upset because it's a bird or something like that. That was an interesting alert on my iPad. It didn't sound normal. Probably multiple ones. That music has pepped my treadling up a little bit. I think I was lagging a little bit here. Wearing out. Bobbin's getting heavy. Getting full. Certainly more. You really enjoyed the last one? Sounded like a flute or something. I love the woodwind instruments. I like all sorts of music. But I have a limit after a while. I like variety. Can't say that Pretzel is where I would like to listen to most of my music, but I understand why the music is the way it is. Yeah, right, for stream friendly. Cotton spun. I am just like so close to being done, and I want to finish. Cheers. But I'm thinking it ought to be something other than water. Like a nice glass of wine. That doesn't really hydrate though. Oops. What are you doing there? Cotton Spun is the caretaker of the chat and chatters. Everybody else needs to stay hydrated too, especially if you're having a heat wave. Living where it's a heat wave. Yes. When I finish, maybe. You took a drink when she reminded you. That's what I just said. She's, that's their Cotton Spun is the caregiver. Thank you for that caring. Oh, that just doesn't look real good. Second bat certainly went faster. Definitely went. I was going for definitely. And certainly was trying to come out. Definitely went faster. I'm going to be tired of gray, though, by the time I spin all this. Oh, goodness. I have another 4 more of this light for the next bobbin. And I got to apply it. And then I got a lot of the gray. Whose idea was this, anyway? Seemed like a good idea at the time. Spin enough yarn for a sweater. And I may not get enough yarn for a sweater after all this. 2 more strips. It's tempting to try and do it all together, but I'm not gonna. Be too much. Probably all think I'm asleep. I really am not. I'm just totally out of stuff to talk about. This last bat had a lot of short stuff in it. It was picky, picky, picky. I'm picking a lot out of it. Unfortunately. CVM can be pretty short fight staple. The lock's pretty short, and that can make it, when they shear, they catch stuff second time through or something like that and get all this short stuff. I'm just in the zone. I want to finish this bat. You are right. This is it right here. But there is a lot to pick out of this bat, more so than the other. So, kind of been focused on that. Hey, 3D printer. Hey, May, how you doing? Welcome. You caught me at the end of the stream. I streamed earlier than normal. So, I've been streaming for 3 hours and I'm going to be stopping here soon, but I'm glad you stopped by. We, as spinners, are celebrating what we call Tour de Fleece because Tour de France is on. And when the riders, during that 21 days that they do the Tour de France, we spin our wheels, which is, of course, our spinning wheels, and spin yarn. And we call it the Tour de Fleece. So I am and have been spinning all weekend because it started yesterday. So I have my regular wooden wheel today, not my little nano. I was streaming yesterday. I'll be streaming more than my normal 3 days, so you might catch me again when you have the time. Alright, I'm going to weigh this bobbin, see how much I spun. So as I finish this little bit here. I am setting aside some additional of this fiber so that I can even up my bobbins before I ply, at least based on weight. So, come on. You don't want to go the right way. There you go. There you go. Okay. Also, I don't know, I'm going to check Discord and see if anybody in the Twitch team is streaming right now. So let's take this off. Discord, yes. Discord is a chat group. Oh, okay. Okay. You're going to check what? Okay, so you know what Discord is. Well, okay, for this event that I'm talking about over the next 3 weeks, we have teams. And Team Twitch are people who are streamers that are doing this. So that's what they will post on Team Twitch that they're streaming. That was what I was talking about. Around 10:30. Most are on like around 10:30. Yeah. It's 5 p.m. my time. Oh, 10 to 30 years old. Yeah, I know. We've talked about this before. I'm ancient. Been there. I've done this a long time. Let me get this weighed. Can't do this on camera. Oh, maybe I can. Hang on. So this is a bobbin from a different spinning wheel that I have. Zeroed it. And it's weighing 4.8. I do everything in ounces. I took a picture of the bobbin before. Yeah, see, this is weighing out at 1.8 instead of the 2 ounces that the other bobbin weighed out as. Some of the bobbin may be different, but what I'm saying is that when I get that fiber from this one lady, her 4 ounces is just sometimes not quite 4 ounces. I don't think she's doing it. It's how she has it done at the mill. And the mill is maybe isn't measuring it exact every single time. So this was 1.8 ounces on the Clune Forest, and then this, the Ara bobbin, is weighing 12.5 ounces, and it started out at 10.1, so I spun 2.4, and that's right. Each bat is just around an ounce, so that sounds right. All right, so total of 4.2 ounces today. Doesn't sound like a lot. Actually, it doesn't mean anything until I actually, measure out the yardage. Then the yardage is more important than the weight. You are very kind, AMA, but you can double that and be close. Anyway, Tantel. She is a spinning fiber oracle, though, and so much wisdom. Oh, good. This reminds me. I put my phone on to charge, so I didn't post any pictures yet. Don't forget to post. We want to meet that goal of spinning every day. See you later, MA and Tantel. Don't go to sleep till you get it done. Cotton Spun, thank you for all your caretaking. I appreciate that. Thank you all for the stream. Let me check and see if anybody is streaming. I'm not going to go raid unless it's one of our Twitchers or spinners. Oops, I don't want Twitch. I want Discord. Nope, I'm the last one. Nobody else is on right now. So I will just say goodbye and happy spinning. You think Snoring Cat? No, she goes on for another hour. I cannot ever stay up late enough. It's way later. She's 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, yeah. Alrighty. See ya.